All right, video number 2, quick recap here. So, we obviously know this is a Gen 2 Coyote out of an F-150. Just kind of sitting on my tire here. A lot of the parts I need to continue with this swap are on back order due to COVID. So we are waiting on the Maximum Motorsports K-member, motor mounts, clutch cable kit, and a few other little things. So that's what I'm doing for the motor. The transmission, the TR3650 that I went with, is currently at Trax Auto. I'll put a link in the description. He's going to rebuild it for me. I'm pretty sure I'm going to go with a spec stage 1 clutch. Keep it simple. I really like that you can send the clutch disc back to them and get rebuilt. So in theory, if I never completely destroy the thing, every couple years I can just send it back and get rebuilt. I scored a stock flywheel from Recon Racing. Check him out, another veteran who also races a Mustang. He's over in Wisconsin. I'll put a link in the description as well for that. The control pack, ECU, harness, the whole nine. I've decided Power by the Hour makes a really good kit. Specifically, since I went with an F-150 motor, there is another add-on harness that I need to run due to the F-150 cams. So just for simple plug-and-play matters, I'm going to go with them. I've talked to Frank on the phone. Really great guy. Tons of information. Really helpful. So that was pretty easy for me. Eventually, I plan on using HP tuners to really get in, data log, tune, and kind of go nuts. But for now, again, stage 1, let's get the car together, let's get it running at least, and then we can think about horsepower and all that fun stuff later. I finally got a brand new windshield put in last week. Company called Aero Auto Glass. They're up here in Westchester, New York. Guy came out, he was early. He gave me a window from, let's say 1 to 2 or 1 to 3, and you know how that usually works. They show up at 4:30, and this guy showed up like at 12:40, ready to go. So we took the old windshield off. It's pretty bad with the sun fade. I mean, it is an OEM windshield from '89, but it was all pitted and scratched, and I said, you know what, for visibility, I've always wanted, I'm like, let me just throw a new windshield, in. And then on top of that, I wanted to put my Global Time Attack banner. And I said, I don't want to put it on the old windshield because I know I'm going to replace it. Let me get a new windshield, put the new banner on. It was great. He showed up, pulled it off on less than an hour, $225. I'm like, you know what? Let's do it. So I'm happy I got that done. Power steering pump, I decided, I wasn't sure if I was going to do a, pulley driven power steering pump off an SN95 or if I was going to go electric. Pull the trigger on that. It's a Volvo electric power steering pump. I'll put the descriptions in the link as well. It says Fomoco on it, so it's like, I guess Ford and Volvo kind of used the pump for numerous cars and teamed up, and I don't know, everything about it, but I'll put that up as well. So I scored that on eBay for like $170. I decided to finally pull the trigger on some Team Z aluminum door hinges. 2 benefits here. Obviously, the main one is weight reduction. The stock steel hinges are pretty heavy, which is understandable for a stock heavy steel door. But when you got the doors all gutted, and a lot of people do carbon or fiberglass, you don't need these hinges. So I figured, why not pull a trigger on some aluminum, shed a couple more pounds off the front of the car. But the added benefit, the second part, is it's a quick release design, so I can just pin off the doors. If I'm working in here and I want more room, if I'm in the paddock and I gotta, check some wiring, whatever the case is. So now I can completely, lift off hood, lift off hatch, pin off doors, like just get the car stripped easy. So I figured, why not? Race car, we're doing crazy stuff. Like, what's another thing, right? I'm doing a new pedal setup. I've yet to pull a trigger. I'm looking at a couple companies, couple ideas. I called Tilton, talked to a guy named Jeff, awesome guy. I'm not really going to run their stuff. Their stuff is designed with the master cylinders at the pedal box. I don't need all that. I'm just going to do a linkage setup. So I'll give you a quick... these are going to get my rod ends. I'm actually going to pull these off and use, I think they're called clevites. So it's going to bolt on both ends, because with this design, you'll actually put a twist on the brake and clutch. We don't want to twist there. So I'm going to go with the more of a U-joint design to get, equal pressure on both. But the idea is just set up some rods, some linkage, and it's most likely going to be a floor-mounted pedal box with new pedals because the seat has been pushed so far back. I'm also doing that with the shifter. I got a long custom shifter I made, which I'm going to do some linkage over to the MGW shifter. So that obviously, once I get the seat in, the pedals, and the transmission and motor bolted up, I can finally do the linkage and get that all measured and finished. I moved the switch panel down here with the push button starter, easily reach when I'm all strapped into the seat. Brake proportion valve it's reachable when I'm strapped in. It's like at my fingertips, so it's good enough for now. I wanted to get that out of the engine bay. Stock dash, as you see, is going back in due to Global Time Attack limited class rules. You do need the OEM dash. It can be modded and trimmed and whatnot, but it has to be there. So that's back in. Obviously, it's just kind of zip tied for now, but she's going to get some aluminum panels and maybe some carbon, and that'll look better eventually. We also power steering cooler rear mounted, trans cooler rear mounted. I'm gonna run, like I said, my 3-inch duct, get some fresh air through the coolers out the back of the car. Moving on to fuel, I decided to pick up the Pro M performance hanger for my Walbro intake pump. This solves a couple problems. I'll post up a link in the description as well. But the first issue is the feed and return are the same size. The second solution is obviously AN fittings. That's going to make my life a lot easier. And the third solution is the return goes all the way to the bottom or closer to the bottom of the tank. So you'll never have any aeration issues with this. I don't want any fuel issues. Another thing is I'm going to run this surge tank back here. This pump is going to get replaced, but your main pump is going to fill the surge tank, and the surge tank is going to fuel the motor. So with this setup, I should no longer have any fuel starvation issues, no matter the corner, no matter the G-forces. So let's go flat out. More aero work is in the works. I got another roll from Speedway Motors of their ABS plastic. I believe it's a 25-foot roll. Goes for like 45 bucks. I'm going to do some side skirts. I want to finally finish this area behind the wheel. I'm going to finish this area in front of the wheel. The main source of drag is obviously under the car, hitting the front of the tire, and on the side of the car hitting the front of the tire. So what you want to do is get the air around the wheel. This is a huge point of drag in that location. What else? Just a lot of little things. Seat mount is almost done. I got to seal the floor, get that bolted in, but I'm really happy with that. The seat is much lower and a few inches back, so that's just a win-win in both cases. My helmet was really close to the cage before. It was actually like touching the cage, so that was super annoying. And in these Foxes, you just sit up way too high, and I figured, hey, let's shift 180 pounds, couple inches back, better weight distribution. So that was a fun project. We're getting there. I'm waiting on some parts from MM. I need to order the clutch. I need to order some other parts. I do want to do some more cage work, but time and money. And with COVID, certain things, shipping is taking longer, and Stuff's on back order. Another thing we've decided to just pull the trigger on is I'm going to V-mount the radiator. Something I've kind of wanted to do for a long time. The benefits when you tilt the radiator forward, you get more air up and out of the hood for better cooling and for more downforce / reduced lift on the front end. So I got some square tubing from Home Depot. This Team Z radiator support is going to get lowered, and then we'll have the radiator here. I've just kind of tacked it in for now to give me an idea, but I want to get the motor bolted in on the K-member before I really permanently set up the radiator. A lot of ideas. I mean, obviously the air dam's going to go back on. I will be making a splitter eventually, and a front belly pan, rear belly pan, diffuser, the whole Aero 9. I decided for now just to put the headlights back in. There's no bulbs in it. I'm not wiring it up. I'm not running lights. But I figured just to simplify stuff, get that in there. This I've left raw because the airbox is going to sit behind the driver headlight. So wherever the airbox is, I want to run ducting to the front. So I don't know if I'm going to here. I don't know if I'm going to just hollow this out and do one big scoop for the entire headlight housing. Like, I don't know the plan yet, but it's definitely going to get some fresh air, pressurized fresh air from the front of the car. So we still got to run the brake lines. I pulled all the brake lines out. I pulled all the fuel lines out. We're doing all new stuff. I said, you know what, let's get rid of the OEM stuff from the 80s. Just a lot of little things. But we're definitely